Hello, welcome to week 2 of our art journal adventure. I am going to cover the color prompt for this month. It is black and white, so it says only use black and white pigments, crayons, markers, paint, spray, washi tape, etc. to create your art journal page. So I really like this prompt because it constrains you and it keeps you kind of in a box while going outside of the box at the same time. And the in the box part is really being limited with the tones and shades that you can use. And of course here we're just using black and white, so there's no color really. We're just using tones and shades of black and white, and of course gray is in the mix as well because it's a combination of those two pigments. So I am only going to use what you get in your kit, but I would definitely encourage and recommend that you look around and see what else you have that you might be able to use as well. For the base of this page that we're going to do, I'm just using what you have in your kit, just in case anyone out there is really just getting started and that's all they have is what I've given them in their kit, or if you just want to really limit yourself even further and see what you can do with just these simple supplies. Now, my spray isn't here right now because I think most people got a color of spray. There is a black marble that is an option as a spray. So if you got that spray, get it out and use it, absolutely. I had a color, so I'm not going to be using that today. So here again, I say crayons, markers, paint, spray, washi tape. Washi tape would be great to use here. But even more than that, tissue paper, that just has maybe white tissue paper with black writing or stamping on it. Any of those things would work. Ink, stamping ink and stamp an image. Really, honestly, anything. But just try to keep it to black and white and see how you do. Okay, so I'm just going to do a single layout today next to my previous page. I am going to use my stencil. You can see mine's pretty well loved already. And this, of course, is the Art Words stencil. Okay, and so the first thing I'm going to do, so I've got my food ball pen, I've got my white Posca, I've got some gesso. I had my clip just because it was holding everything together. But you probably don't need to use that to make the page. So I had an idea, and of course you take it in whatever direction you want to go. But this was my idea. It's a different way that you can use your stencil for this prompt. Okay, so I might be quiet here and there. I will try to talk through what I'm doing, but really it's just going to be kind of coloring this in. I'm not going to do all the words. I'm going to pick and choose. Okay, so some of them I'm just going to do the outline, and I'm using my food ball here, the black food ball. Okay, this pen is so dreamy and just glides right over the paper. I think it's really amazing and I love it. And it's not waterproof, so that could be a great thing or it could be a not great thing depending on what you're the look that you're trying to achieve. For this situation, I am using that to my benefit, and I'll show you why in a little bit. But the very first thing we need to do is just outline some of these words. So these are all, art words, journaling words, whatever you like. So they all kind of apply, but I just want just a few of them. I'm not going to do all of them, and some of them I'm just outlining, and like this one I'm going to completely just scribble in the middle. So you'll still be able to make out what the word is. You'll have the outline, but you'll also have it colored in. Okay, and that's going to help. It just gives a little bit different look, so they're not all just outlines, and it's just a fun, playful, scribbly kind of way to do this. Okay, let's do this. Create. This is a good word. This one is big. I'm just going to outline it. And so you notice that I haven't moved the stencil yet, but I'm going to move it because I want to do this to the whole page. And this this paper is slightly larger than my stencil, so I'm just going to do a few here and there until I'm happy. I think I'll do this Inspire, and we'll just scribble this one in. And you can see when I'm scribbling too, there's nothing perfect about it. You know, it's not completely colored in. It's just little bits here and there. I don't mind having the white space even. I'm just playing, right? This is just play, have some fun, create some shapes and patterns that happen to be letters, but they really could be anything. So think when we're going through these prompts and doing these different activities, think about other places and other ways you can be using this idea maybe in a different way, right? So I mean, you could, you know, if you had some flowers and you were making a card and you wanted to do this with a background, you know, and maybe you have like a glitter gel pen or something cool, or a metallic pen or whatever, you know, or anything, any kind of crayon, marker, pen, whatever, you could totally do this and it would be really cute, I think. So that's what we have so far. So you see some of them are filled in, some are just the outline, but it gives you you know, a way to look around the whole paper, and is kind of fun. So now I'm going to pick some of the other words. I'm just going to come down to the bottom here, and really I'm just going to fill in the whole length of the paper. And again, I'm not going to cover the whole thing because we are going to do something else here, but I am going to keep this page fairly simple. I don't always do simple anything. And certainly not simple journal pages, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I just want to play, try out a new technique. I don't really know how it's going to go, and that's okay, right? And so maybe I want these words in different places. You know, you don't have to, you know, I'm moving the stencil around all over the place and just putting things wherever I want. I want something right here going up and down. So maybe I'm going to pick, here we go, we've got brush and canvas. I'm going to do both of these. So one of them I'll just outline. And there's really no like pre-thought to this, honestly, of where I'm, you know, which words I'm choosing to outline or color or scribble or not at all. It's just whatever feels good in the moment. And that's what I really want you to start feeling for yourself, and not just with this journal page, but with all of them. When you sit down, you open your journal, and maybe you get out your prompt cards and you say, I'm going to work on a prompt card today, and I'm going to make a journal page. And you really, you know, sit with your page. You've got a blank slate. You've got your prompt card, and you're thinking, oh, maybe you're thinking, oh, I don't know what to do. Just start to play. Just grab one item, you know, your pen, and doodle, or your stencil and your pen, right? Or whatever you have, your spray, paint, whatever it is, and just start putting marks on the page, and eventually you'll get into a flow, you know? And it might not even be that sit down visit that you get into your flow, but you will, okay? Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. I promise you'll find your flow. Okay, I'm just going to do a couple more words here. I'm going to do this canvas. I want some more that are kind of colored in. I like the way that the black stands out against the white background. So I'm doing some more just to get a little bit more contrast on the page. So you see I have some up here and some over here and some down here. That kind of balances things out. I only have a couple that are just outlines. I think I want to have maybe one more outline here. So you see I'm balancing the page out even though it's asymmetrical in the way that things are laid out. So I think I'm just going to have a little word though, and I'm going to do this B. Okay? Because I like that. It's short and sweet, just 2 little letters. There we go. Oh, be authentic. I swear to God I didn't plan that. That worked out nicely. Okay, so I think I'm happy with the way this looks right now. So I'm going to put this pen away for now. All right, and then I'm going to get some gesso. I've got a different brand of gesso here, but gesso is gesso, honestly. As long as you're using like a major brand and not an off brand, I would recommend. This is actually a little thicker too than yours, but they will both work in the same way, okay? So if you're going to do the same technique I'm doing, you totally can do it. And it's okay that your gesso's a little thinner, okay? It might actually work a little bit better, to be honest, but it's okay. So I'm going to turn this on its side because I've been using it like this, right? And I have turned it here or there for different words, but maybe, you know, you just want to try and do something a little different and look at it in a different way. Okay, so I'm going to have it near the top, and we are going to come down to the bottom too, but we're going to start at the top, and I'm just going to smush gesso. And I think actually I might like to water some of this down. Oops, that one's almost empty. Good thing I have backup here. I am going to water it down a little bit. I think I like that it's thick, but I also want a little bit thinner too. Okay, and I'm not going everywhere, but I'm going here and there. And look at what I have. I have some gray letters that are slightly raised over the top. I'm going to do the same thing down here, except I'm going to flip this again, okay? I'm going to flip it again, so now it's totally upside down, and I'm going over it. And the reason we're getting the gray letters is because that pen that we used is not permanent. So I'm getting some of that ink mixing with the white gesso, and now look at how cool. We've got some light gray letters, words, right, coming through. And so you can still see some of the words that we had before, but now they're overlaid with other words. And that's another good reason to flip your stencil so that things are in a different orientation, so they're not completely covering up what we had going on before. And I really love the way this looks. I'm loving the way it looks, and I am happy with it. So I'm going to put my gesso away. Okay, and really, I mean, at this point I need to dry it or let it dry naturally. If you had like a blank space on this side and you had your gesso what we've just done here on this side, you could let this dry naturally and then work on this side or work on something else. You could use a heat gun and dry it, whatever works for you. I think I'm gonna go get the heat gun and dry this, and then we'll finish up, okay? And like I said, I'm gonna keep this nice and simple. I'm probably gonna do a little bit of doodling. Since I'm only using black and white in what was in the kit, I am very limited, but that's okay because it's fun to be limited, right? So I've got my food ball and the white Posca pen and gesso, and so far we've used these two. I might try to use this here and there and do a little bit of doodling. I'll probably doodle a little bit more with that. Let me dry this and we'll be right back to do that. Okay, so now I've dried this. Just took it off camera so you don't have to watch me dry it. That's not fun. I'm going to come back with my food ball and do a little bit of doodling here and there. And then I'll probably come over it with my white Posca pen as well. But like I said, if you at home have any, I mean, I think it'd be really fun to add some washi tape, maybe some polka dots or some X's or just fun patterns. There's tons of washi tape out there that's black and white or even gray, or markers or paints or sprays. Like, you can really go to town with the black and white, and you can do a lot of stuff. So, but I'm just going to stick with what we have. And maybe I'm going to outline some of the gray letters. Okay, that's one thing you can do. I really have been digging, like, adding some borders and stuff. I like this craft word here. So, and I'm not doing it even perfectly, but remember I added this border here. I like doing stuff like that. I also just like, you know, putting shapes here and there, right? Adding little dots, maybe like around the O, right? Just little bits here and there. Maybe under this M, over here. I do love adding the dots. And this just helps, you know, move your eye around the page and helps you finish it a little bit. Maybe you want to, I like this create here, so, but maybe I'm just gonna do part of it. right? Maybe the drop shadow part or something, which I'm not great at doing that. But it's just fun. There's literally no rules, right? So you can do whatever you want. So there, I did that. I really also like, let's see, maybe doing, I think, I'm deciding, I want like a line going through here some way. I'm trying to decide where I want to do that. I don't know, I feel like this dream is kind of up here on its own. And while it's way at the top, it kind of keeps being the focal point to me because it's like separate from the rest. Not on purpose either. So maybe I'm gonna like put a circle or I mean a rectangle around this. You know, when you have those word stickers, you know, and you put it on your page or whatever, and then you kind of highlight around it to accentuate it. Well, I can do that here, and I can redraw this A in that kind of got covered up with some of the gesso, so it helps bring it back to the forefront. And I think I'm just gonna like make this a little bit bolder, so this can be my focal point, even though it's way up here at the top, you know. And it doesn't have to be exactly like the stencil was. We can alter it in any way we like. So there, I really like that. I think that looks good, and I like that it's open too. It keeps it a little bit lighter, especially for being way at the top like that. So I like the box around it. Maybe I'm gonna put some dots over here. There we go. That looks pretty good to me. So I'm just adding, I mean, honestly, if I took this to the couch with me and like sat and watched a show and hung out with my family, this would have doodles all over it, maybe even flowers and hearts and whatever, right? Okay, so then I'm gonna take my Posca pen and I'll probably do a little bit more of the same. Now, when you're using your Posca pen, you wanna make sure and shake it really good before you get started. This has acrylic paint in here, but it's in liquid form so that you can draw it through a marker. So you just want to shake it up and get it all mixed together and ready to go for you. And sometimes, so when you first get your Posca pen, and I think I forgot to mention this the last time, and I'm sorry for that, but when you first get it, you do need to pump it and prime it. So this one's ready to go, but you just press down so that this plastic, oh, you can't see, sorry. So this plastic edge here hits the paper, okay? And so what will happen, this bullet nib just goes all the way in, as you can see, and now it's dripping down my finger. But that's okay. I'm gonna get some splatters, and that's kind of fun. Okay, so that's what happens. It's gonna activate the ink to come down into the barrel and into the nib and the tip, okay? And then, ooh, look, I'm getting fun. You can't really see them because they're white, but I got fun splatters out of here. So anyway, that's how you activate it, and then you can just use it. Okay, so I don't know if I want to do too much more. Now I've got all these splatters on here, which was an accident, but actually looks really cool. I know that you don't have a black Posca in your kit, so I'm not going to do it, but I would also probably take a black Posca pen and do what I just did with the white and add some black splatter to here, because that would look really cool too. Okay, so I'm just trying to give you ideas also of other ways you can use this. I'm trying to think, is there anything here, maybe a little bit around there? And so the black is still kind of showing through. It's not totally opaque, but there it is. Hold on, let's see. Okay, so there's my page. Very simple. I mean, kind of abstract. There is a focal point, the word dream there, but honestly it's way at the top, and you know, it's got a little box around it, but this is a very non-traditional sort of page, kind of an abstract, but it's great and I love it and I think it's fantastic. Maybe someday I would come back and give it a focal point, but maybe not, you know. Another thing that I will do really quick, I'm going to do it in a spot that doesn't have the splatter, although I would like to do it over a couple different areas. So if you recall on this video, we did some writing underneath this page and then we covered it and we put stuff on top of it. Well, another way that you can add your journaling and make it so that people can't read it, but it becomes part of the layout instead of being covered up, is just to write scribbly. So, and you can write real words, you can write nonsense, right? But if you want to write real words and not cover them up like we did here, then you can write scribbles. And let me just do it and I'll show you. Okay, and so I wrote something here. The words are completely illegible. No one will ever know what I wrote there, except for me, because I wrote it and I know what it means. And now I've infused this page with that intention, right? And so I probably would add that a couple places, and I might even go this way the next time. I've got some wetness here. You really want to make sure your page is dry before you use your food ball. You don't want to wreck it, the tip. So let me dry this really quick and I'll be right back to finish. Okay, I'm back. So one thing I did do, I took a heat gun. So this is the heat gun I use. So you can use whatever you have, again, or let it dry naturally. But then I did take my towel and kind of pull up some of the excess, and look at, I got some cool rings. So can you see right here? See, there's like a white ring around it, but then you can see through it a little bit. That's because I picked up some of that ink that was pooling there, because I didn't want to wait forever for it to dry. I'm kind of impatient, but I also kind of really like the way that turned out, and I love the look of it. So sometimes, you know, you might be doing something for another reason, but you have a happy accident there, and it works out. So I'm just going to add some more of the scribbles right here, and then we'll see where we are. All right. Okay, so I wrote another sentence here. I love just the scribbles and the doodles. Okay, now I know what that says, but that's it. That's it. It's just aesthetically pleasing, and it becomes whatever you want it to be. Okay, I think I'm going to add a tiny little bit over here, and then we'll be done. Yeah, I like it over here. Okay. Okay, so there we go. So this is my final page. I really love it. I think that it is fun and dynamic and monochrome, right? It is monochrome for sure. Monochrome just means one color, okay? And so I guess technically there's no color here because it's just black and white with some gray. But yes, this definitely is fun. It's challenging. It helps your brain sort of force you to think outside the box a little bit and not be so dependent on having a particular color. I love color, okay? So it is definitely a challenge for me to just work in black and white, but I think black and white is also very striking and gorgeous. So I cannot wait to see your journal pages for this prompt, and thanks so much for being here and being an adventurer. I hope you're having a great time, and make sure to share your pages in the Facebook group after you've completed this, if you haven't done this one already. I really love seeing everyone's journal pages. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.